Good morning, and welcome to A Better World with Julann and Fran. I'm Julann.
And I'm Fran, and today we have a very special guest, Julann's sister, Monica. Welcome, Monica.
Thank
Woo!
you. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
And yes, very much thank you. And can you talk a little bit about some of the things that you've been doing to make the world a better place?
Um, sure. I have I have a larger than average group of elderly friends, and they don't have family close by. Well, some of them do, but they are not burdened with awareness, their family members, so they don't contribute to their well-being. So I spend extra time with people who are isolated, and I feed a friend every day for the last 6 years since her husband died, and a half a year, both of them before that, because she lacked the will to make meals for her family. Her husband was battling cancer, and she needed a hip replacement. And his standing joke was they had personal chefs. On Monday they were Chinese. On Tuesday, they were Italian. On Wednesday, they were Greek, wherever they ordered from. And she just couldn't make those phone calls anymore. So
Oh,
they were having canned soup or cereal, and he was starving. So I started bringing whatever we had for dinner, and then I started bringing him some lunch and some stuff. And at first, she was very, very upset. She did not want me to bring the food. She didn't like it. She said they were fine. And he kept saying, please ignore her. I
oh,
appreciate this so much. So I did. And eventually, because at first she wouldn't eat what I brought for her on principle. She Cooperation her isn't easy for her.
right.
I mean, she's lovely. I've been friends with them since I'm 16 years old. In fact, he always called me his fifth daughter because he's got four girls and a boy. So he's called me the fifth daughter since I'm a teenager. And
He's a
but
good picker, isn't
yes,
he?
yeah. I'm sorry.
He's a good picker.
Yeah. So um so now his wife has been suffering from uh no short-term memory for a few years. But when you spend time with her, she's the exact same person. So when you sit together and you're watching a game or you're talking about stuff, it's the same. You can't quiz her about anything because then she gets upset that she can't remember. But
Mhm.
Mm.
otherwise, she's the same. And I have to say, I'm pretty excited because I was there when somebody came by for something and she introduced me as the third daughter. And
Oh,
I was
two.
like,
What happened to the other? Oh,
I put it in the sister text. I was like, I'm happy to say I'm moving up the
moving up.
ranks, ladies. Watch your step, because who knows? I might be number one before you know it.
I wonder if they were okay, if they felt bad. I don't think people realize that I don't know. I think they don't want to accept the fact that their parents are getting older and they think
Well,
they can,
that's certainly the case with this family.
yeah,
I mean, for
don't
years,
realize.
they
Right.
they realize it now, but for years, their attitude was, well, I don't think she's isolated. I was like, she's alone all the time unless I'm there. And they would say no, and she's fine when I talk to her. If she comes to my house, she doesn't do that. I was like, right, because now she's not alone anymore and she's not isolated. She's with you and your family. So she's not going to behave like that. And they just didn't believe it. Again, mostly because they didn't want to believe that their mother was declining. I mean, one of her kids even wanted her to babysit not that long ago because she has a handicapped child. And I was like, I don't even want her to go there because she's going to get hurt.
Right.
But
And well, how old is she? She's older, right? She's
she's 93.
and she's thin and, not really
No, she's not.
frail,
She's
but
not thin. She's in good shape. She
yeah.
she eats pretty well and she does everything.
Well, yes,
She's she's listen. She's resistant to movement. She's hard to get motivated to go and do things, but she does. It just takes. If you have to do something with her, you have to plan on 3 hours to get her up showered, dressed, and gone.
Yeah,
Takes 3 hours just to get up and get moving.
Well,
And
it's
that's it.
beautiful.
it
It's
is.
it's beautiful of you to do that. Thank you so much for doing that.
It is.
Well,
It's really kind.
she's part of my extended family. And I have another friend who I was with this morning who's 99,
God
Wow.
bless
and
her.
she is spectacular
Yeah, she has
because,
wits about her. Yeah.
yeah, she's as sharp as a tack. And just now she's physically starting to, just like in the last week, she's starting to have more trouble with her arthritis, and she had to get a separate walker for her kitchen because she makes most of her meals, does her own cooking. Myself and another friend shop for her, and she, again, she does all her cooking, but now she finds that she feels weak and shaky when she carries her plates across the kitchen. So now she got a walker for her kitchen
Please.
that she can put the plate on that seat, walk it to the microwave, then she puts it down, and then she uses that to carry it inside. So
Smart.
that's the kind of sharp-witted woman she is. She's very adaptable. She's she sees a weakness in herself and she looks to remedy it immediately, you know. And if she can possibly do it independently, that would be better. And she's extremely cautious because she doesn't want anything to happen so that she doesn't overburden any of her friends or family.
Hmm.
And she's
Nice.
just ridiculously sweet and thoughtful. She's really lovely.
We can't imagine how many people are out there that don't have anybody. You know what I mean?
Well, a few years ago, there was this article in the Times that I just thought was so spectacular. In Park Slope, I don't remember if it was from one of the colleges downtown or a parish, they teamed up people who needed housing, like
Company, right?
students and stuff. They would pay a nominal amount in rents and they would be company and do a few things. They'd shovel when it snowed, they take out the trash on trash nights. They weren't responsible for their elderly
Right.
landlord, but it was ideal because now you have company, you can do things. I mean, that's a scary thing for a lot of elderly people because that would be ideal for my friend Helen,
Right.
because if she just had company, like she hires aides, she's nervous at night. So she hires people to sleep at her house so that if anything happens to her during the night, she can call for help.
No.
Yeah. So if she could have somebody like that moving, because she's got a little basement apartment downstairs, but without a kitchen, they'd have to share the kitchen. I wish I knew somebody so that, because she
You
spends a
could do
lot of
that.
her money, right? And she has a friend who's an aide 3 days a week, and it's still a manageable situation for her. But that's where a lot of money is spent as you get older, and things like this. And having a border would be perfect.
Exactly.
But
That's,
again, it's a scary thing to open up your home to somebody.
yeah. You have to have a vetting, you know what I mean? There'd have
Mm-hmm.
to be a whole process, but that's a great idea for a business because, that would really help a lot more people too. I mean,
And
mine, you help
and the
hundreds
young
instead of
people
a
too.
few.
Yeah, that's a big responsibility, that vetting process, though.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Because God forbid something happens. You know what I mean?
You know, and whenever
Yeah.
I talk about something like that with Helen, she's always like, "Well, what happens if all these young people want to have company and bring people in your house and have a party?" I said, "Well, you would decide the boundaries.
Right.
You
Right.
decide, can I have friends over to watch TV with me? Can we all have dinner together? Is there a
Right. Figure it
number?"
out.
But again, that's a frightening thing for an elderly person. What if they move in and then they take over?
Yeah. A squatter. Yeah.
Right.
That would be pretty. But it's so nice of you because it's an everyday thing that you're doing. You know
It
what I mean?
is it is an absolute everyday thing.
Yeah, it's a big responsibility. And shout out to my brother-in-law, Michael, who also is delivery of food and picks up and and does a lot
Yeah.
of nice things too. So you tell him we said thank you for doing that. It's very kind. And she's great with kids too, because I talked about this before, a grandson with special needs. He has to have medication and he has way more energy than two or three kids put together. So it's a nonstop running around. And a family member got married a couple of weeks ago, and my sister was kind enough, and brother-in-law were kind enough to come up and watch the kids because we live upstate. They came up to watch Theo and Annie, and I'll let my sister tell you the rest.
We loved it. Theo and Annie are a lot of fun, you know. And Theo loves my husband, so he had the
Oh,
opportunity to show off his home and take him to every room and show him how to play with the ball pit. And my husband just learned so much from him.
excuse me 1 second. I just want to tell you, Michael left his hat yesterday. I had a family get together yesterday. My sister and brothers and their kids and everybody was here. But he left his hat. Michael left his hat. Ryan. Theo found it and he said, "Whose hat is this?" I said, "Uncle Michael's." He said, "Oh." He put it on and he won't wear a hat. He walked around with that hat for a good half hour. This is Uncle Michael's hat. This is Uncle Michael's hat. He was very excited. So I don't know if you're getting it back. Anyway, sorry about that.
But on the way up there, we were getting off the highway, and as we're getting off the highway, there's a car pulled over in front of us, and this man comes around the car and he drags the woman out of the car, whacks her a little, and he starts shaking her like a rag doll. So we pulled over and we hopped out of the car. You know, we said, "Come, come with us. You don't get back in that car. You don't have to do anything." And then he got in the car and drove away, but he had the pocketbook and everything else, and she was crying, and we were trying to calm her down. And we called the police, but it was very, very upsetting, and because other cars were driving past. But there was a woman on the other side going in the opposite direction who also pulled over. But to see a very big man just drag this skinny woman out of the car and shake her like a rag doll is just something I'm never going to forget. And it was very upsetting. And the other woman called the police and they came and they took our names and information. And she had just moved in with him a week ago. So she didn't know anybody up there. And she just wanted to go home, back to the apartment where he was going to be.
Unfortunately, that is usually the case.
Yeah.
So the other woman was some kind of therapist. So she talked, of course, the police were trained for some of this, and they told her they could take her to a safe house and all this. And she's like, no. She goes, "He's never done anything like this before." She's like, he doesn't hit me. And I was like, "He just whacked you and shook you, dragged you
And
out
the
of the car."
policeman, right? The policeman gave her some good information, right? He said he ran her,
He
right?
ran because he asked his name information. He told him there were told her there were previous orders of protection taken out against him, and she just wanted to go back.
Yeah. And the policeman said, I remember you saying that, this time it's shaking. Next time it's a punch in the face. Then he throws you down the stairs and then you're reading about it in the newspaper, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what he said.
it takes a while. It's not a week for those things to happen, but it's unfortunate because so many people would drive right past too because they don't want to get involved, you know? And it's nice that you guys stopped and helped her because who knows what would happen, you know?
It just boggles my mind that her thoughts were to go back there. And I was like, "Here's my phone. Call your mother. Just call your mother."
Right.
It's like, you're not from that far away. Call somebody else. But
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. So he had her pocketbook in the car. So, she contacted him and he was supposed to come to this medical center not far from where this all occurred. And, you know, he was supposed to give her back her pocketbook with the keys and everything. But the police said if they witnessed anything, they would have arrested him, even though she does not want to press charges.
Right. If they'd see.
Right. As they said, him dragging you out of the car, shaking you and throwing you on the ground is assault.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But you know what? She probably feels like all these women who are in abusive relationships that she did something wrong. If she hadn't worn that outfit or picked that pocketbook or opened her window at that time, he never would have done such a thing.
Well,
So,
one of the things that was so shocking to me, and I mentioned Joe's, one of his friends was in the back seat. So he did this in front of somebody else. Yes. And she said he got mad because she was saying something in front of his friends.
Wow.
So that was the trigger. But that's what I said to her. I said, if he would do this in front of another person, what do you think he's going to do when you're alone?
Unfortunately, often when a woman ends up in a relationship like that, it's because she comes from a background that is like that. So it's familiar to her, and it's really all she knows. And it was beautiful of you to stop. If nothing else, you infused the situation with your healing, loving, protective energy. But unfortunately, women will often go back to somebody like that. It's really very sad. And thank you so much for doing that. Thank you so much for stopping. It meant something to her. And maybe
Right.
she had a second thought. Maybe she was going to go back to him and she thought about something he said and she didn't.
I hope so, because it's very disturbing to me that she would, and she wasn't 20,
Right.
she was 30,
Yeah.
because I thought she was much younger, and I asked her how old you are, and I just thought she, it was,
Just right, just a random act of kindness, Mon. Just doing the right thing every day. You make such a difference in so many people's lives. And just when you were saying that, I thought about Megan, who we had Megan on also on the podcast, but she runs a pediatric office, a few of them. And one day a woman came in and she was from out of town. I think she might have been from Texas. The child was sick. I don't remember all the details, but her insurance wouldn't work there because she was from Texas, and wherever this insurance was wouldn't, and she was beside herself. She was so upset and there was a lot going on. So Megan, back in the day, they would allow a random, Megan could use her powers to let the company pay for it. So she put it in for this woman and she said, listen, I took care of it. Don't worry. You're all, she didn't have anybody here. It was a
right.
random thing, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, they took care of the kid. The kid was okay, whatever it was, got the medicine. She gave them medicine from whatever storage they had, whatever.
But
Everything was great. She wrote her this letter. She got a card. I don't want to get upset. And she said, you have no idea what your kindness did. I'm a mom hanging on by a thread in a place I don't know anybody, and you made such a difference. So
Mm,
little things like that, you don't realize just a little kindness to even somebody online who's cranky, you know,
right,
you, you make a difference.
it's the old golden rule: treat others as you'd like to be treated. It's not that hard. It just takes a moment to be kind.
Right?
it really does. How did you get into being a friend to so many elderly people?
Um,
A big
well, in
heart.
some cases, in one case, I survived her daughter. Her daughter is my friend, and her grandson and my boys are best friends. And she has another daughter who lives in Manhattan, so she comes in every week. But it's just proximity, you know.
Mhm.
I'm only a couple of blocks away, so I I can be there, you know. And she just needs a hand every once in a while. Little things like I'm going to the supermarket anyway. What difference does it make if I pick up her stuff? It's just a few extra minutes to call her and say, "Okay, I'm here. What do you need?" You
Well,
know?
thank you. That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
really so
Mm.
nice. It made me think of when the kids were younger. We had carpools for religion, and one of the moms was getting divorced, and it was a really bad, ugly divorce. So I said, we each took a turn a week. There were 5 of us, I think. So I said to the mom, listen, don't worry about your religion. I'll do yours. You know what I mean? So I'll do mine and I'll do yours. Nobody has to know.
Right. Nobody knows who's
People
driving.
were pissed off. The moms in the group were mad. One of the moms called me and said, I don't understand. Why are you doing her time? That's her responsibility. I said, but why do you care?
Why do you care? It's
I'm
not
doing
affecting
it.
you.
It has nothing to do with you.
Right.
As long as your kid's getting picked up and dropped off, what difference does it make? It's
Right.
just being kind. Somebody's mad about something all the time.
Yes, that's true.
Take
Yeah.
the emotion out of it. Has nothing to do with you. Why don't you try to just be a nicer person?
Well, it was like that for when my kids were little. I was on the PA, vice president or secretary for many years. And we would have a carnival every year. And the bracelet to have the snacks and go on all the rides and everything was like, I don't know, $4 or something at the time, five. And we had kids from temporary housing at our school. So typically they couldn't pay for that. So the PA would cover the cost for anybody who didn't pay for it. And I cannot tell you how many people would come. You couldn't get people to come to a meeting on, really important things that we needed people to vote on or paperwork filled out to get, funding for something. But when the PA was paying for, homeless children's bracelets so they could go on a ride, they came out of the woodwork.
Wow.
And I would say, well, I'm glad you're here. While you're here, would you like to sign up to volunteer on Carnival Day? And you know what? You can just supervise the rides when the children that you like best are on it. And they'd be like, I'm
You
not going
did
to
not
do
say
that.
that.
Yeah. I'll watch
Right. Don't
everybody. I was like,
insult me.
great.
I'm not so petty. Right. Okay.
But yeah, that was disheartening. But once we get you in person, we can usually, make you see the light. These are little tiny kids. There was nobody, they were 10 and under. So you have kids between 5 and 10 years old, and you're going to begrudge them a bracelet. So you be the person who goes and hands out the bracelets and look at the little kid who doesn't have one. That's going to be your job. We'll see how
Yeah.
fast you give out those bracelets.
Oh, I hope. We hope.
Well, I think when you're
Faced with a
face
little
to
kid,
face with
right?
it, I don't think you can
would
be
hope.
unkind to a child when you're, again, face to face with it. You can sit in an auditorium and carry on about stuff. Like, why do you have to use different color papers for alerts for parents? If they can't read through everything in the folder and find something on white paper, you're wasting the PA's money buying colored paper. I couldn't even reply to that. I laughed so hard. I was like, wow, I have extra things for you to do if you got time to worry about us spending money on colored paper.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? I don't know. I don't know how we fix it. I didn't go to church this morning, but I'm going to go later on because we need all the help we can get.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So true.
Well, keep up the good work, Monica, because it's making a difference. It really is. And we're,
I have a lot of nice friends. One of my friends, she has her 90 some odd year mother living upstairs in her house, and her aunt was isolated and she lived downtown Brooklyn. And she just moved her into the downstairs of her house because she can't be alone anymore.
right. And she watches 8 grandchildren.
And she watches on rotation different days.
Wow.
So we should have her on.
You should have her on.
You make this all look bad, that one.
Yeah, because she does a lot of stuff for a lot of people.
You know what, though? I keep saying we don't have a big audience that listens to this. I wish we could get more of the word out. People think you have to do a grand gesture. You don't. You just have to do such small things, right? Help somebody who drops something, hold a
Right.
door for somebody. When they have their blinker on, let them go. I know I say it every week, the same thing, but those little kindnesses, I don't know. I don't think people think that they could help. They don't think to stop. Like I spoke to my niece's husband and he said, look, I'm one of those people that drive right by. I never think to stop. I said, well, maybe now you will.
Right.
You
There's
know?
that. And maybe he does something else.
Maybe, but he would have told me, I think. But I don't know. Again, maybe he didn't think of it at that time. You know what I mean? You don't realize that.
Right. And if nothing else, when you do these kind things for people, even if nobody knows and the person on the receiving end doesn't remember it or something like that, you put positive energy out into the world. I heard a story, and this is going to be a little woo-woo, but I heard a story of somebody who was in a car crash, who was killed in the car collision. And the traffic behind her was all backed up. And as her spirit left her, and clearly this is somebody who was revived and became alive again, but as her spirit left her body, she could see all of the energy of all the people behind her. And most of it was not positive, but there was one person who had like rainbow colored energy coming up from her. I'm getting chills just telling the story.
Yeah, right.
She was praying. She was like everybody else was angry at the traffic being backed up. This one person was praying for this woman and didn't even know who she was praying for. You know, she was just
Hope no one's
hoping it
hurt.
had a
Right.
So
See, that's it. I even do that with dead animals. If I see a little squirrel or something on the side of the road, I said, "Oh, you poor little thing." Whatever. I know that's crazy, but I see my
it's
granddaughter is out, and so
Isabella.
yeah, she's look. I'll see if I could.
Hey, girls.
Hi.
Is she going jumping?
I don't know what they're doing. I think swinging, which
She has,
I made it a pretty long time without any noise, right? 11:24.
wow.
A blessing. See? Act of kindness.
So Monica, if you had a way of influencing people to be the kind of people you would like them to be, what would you have them be?
I would just ask people
Mindful.
to spend more time with their own families. Just take a few minutes, and I don't just even mean the elderly. I mean your
Mother.
siblings, your siblings, your grandchildren, your niece and nephew. Because sometimes just sitting with somebody and having a little time for them, it really changes how you feel about yourself.
Yeah.
Somebody who can sit down and give you their undivided attention, whether it's to
No
talk
phone.
about a book or read a story to a kid or take a walk with a friend.
Yeah. Make
Those are the
time.
kind, yeah, I just think if you can make a little time for somebody.
I agree. The joke I always say is, well, it's not a joke, but we're Irish, right? We don't have time for things. But if you die, we can go to your wake and your funeral, man.
100%.
Because no matter what happens, we'll take the day off, we'll
Yep.
travel, we don't care.
Yep.
But don't ask us to go to lunch because
Right.
we're very, very busy. We can't go to
Right.
lunch.
So
Right.
many people, so many people at the end of their lives, when they know that they're dying, will say that they wish they'd spent more time.
Yeah.
They hadn't focused so much on being successful at work or making a lot of money or something like that. They wish they'd just spent more time with the people they love.
Yeah.
Irma Bombeck, didn't she write a whole thing? She would have lit the candle. You buy all these things and you save them because what are you saving them for? You know what I mean?
Right.
Kids are only going to throw them out when you die. So you
Right.
might as well light them.
Might as well use them. I like to use my pretty things. I do.
Yeah, me too. I don't have that many pretty
I
things.
break, I guess you do. And I break them on the reg and I don't care.
Yeah, who cares, right? I mean, I had a couple of wine glasses that I really loved. There's only
Yeah.
one left. Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway,
That's pretty much what I'm talking about, my wine glasses.
yeah. Well, Catherine bought you pretty all different color wine glass. I don't know.
Yes.
I feel like, and I know I say it all the time, embrace the suck. Not
Yeah.
everybody has the best job or the best house or the best car, but you know what? You have a car and a house and
That's
you
right.
know what I mean? And an outfit on and whatever. So be grateful. If you start every day grateful for, I said a prayer this morning. What did I say a prayer about? I saw something and I thought, oh, I just wanted to say thank you. I said a prayer this morning, early in the morning, in the middle of the whatever. And I said my prayers and I said, I just want to say thanks. I don't want anything. I didn't lose anything, although I did lose my glasses and I'm still holding out that I'm going to find them. I don't know what I'm waiting for, but
Well, again, my 99-year-old friend Helen makes time for everybody. And if she doesn't hear from me, she worries about me. And she calls me and she makes me feel special.
you are special.
You are. Yeah.
She
Now we're going to
just
all start crying, so we should cut it out before it becomes a cry fest.
she's just dynamite.
That's nice, Mom. You make me proud.
Yeah. Make me proud too.
And we're proud of you too, Fran, because this is your idea. And you know what? Maybe we're making a difference for a couple of people.
I
Maybe
think
some
so.
cranky person's going to go see their mother today.
I hope so. So, Fran, do you typically get to get a word in edgewise on these things?
Sorry. Sorry, Fran.
No,
We
I
took
love
over.
this. I love this. This is wonderful. I love it when your sister participates and that I love it when Julann asks questions too, because I don't want to feel like I'm, bulldozing the whole thing either.
She lets me do that.
Do not.
See, another
Three
kindness.
O'Briens at once.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yep, yep, yep.
I'm happy that we're connected again, Fran, because we get to see each other every week after all these years. So it's another thing to be thankful for.
Yes, I am very grateful for that too.
So
And
thanks.
Monica, you do look wonderful.
This was so do you, Fran. This was
Thank you.
nice and not, I thought it was going to be harder than it was. It was just a conversation.
Yeah, that's it. That's what we tell everybody because they get nervous. It's just a couple of people talking. And once we get
Yeah.
into it, and it's fun.
Yeah. It was
Whatever.
great.
All right. So Jewel, do you have any last questions?
I don't. I think that's it, Fran. You covered it all. I think you're just pushing your way through it, Fran, and you just never let anybody else talk. But no, it was great. And thank you for joining us, Mon. I
Yes,
appreciate
thank
it.
you.
It was my pleasure. Nice to see you, ladies.
You
Thank you. It was
too.
nice to see you. Okie dokie. So this has been
All right.
another episode of A Better World with Julann and Fran. Please like and share this video, and please join us again next time, won't you? So long.
Bye.
Bye.